Hi and welcome to my channel and this video about magical realism, a topic I love to despise. So in this video I'll talk to you about my feelings around this topic, what I think it is, what I think is wrong with me and everything around. So please watch this video, engage in the comments and discuss with me what you think about this genre. This whole thing started when I tried reading this one. It's 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I didn't finish because I found it to be confusing and it just had a bunch of magical elements just thrown in there at times and I couldn't bear it. But friends of mine think that that is a great novel, so I'll give it a try in some years. We'll see. Instead of me trying to explain what I think magical realism is, I thought Wikipedia could give a short answer to this, and that is magic realism or magical realism is a style of literary fiction and art. It paints a realistic view of the world while also adding magical elements, often blurring the lines between fantasy and reality. And just in that sentence, I find everything that's wrong with this genre and also myself. Having something that seems to be realistic, something that could have happened to you, and then suddenly just throwing in magical elements, it's a clash in my head. It's very confusing. Not that I don't understand what the books are trying to tell me, it's more my brain refusing to accept the premise. A person might be walking down the aisle at the store looking for chocolate and suddenly a huge elephant appears in the sky and it's breathing fire. To me, it just seems very stupid and it happens so fast. Just at the moment when I read sentences like that, my lust for finishing the novel disappears. And the worst thing is when something like that happens, like in the middle of the book, I feel like I've wasted reading the first half because I can never recover. It's just ruined for me, which is sad. And this is part of the reason why I earlier had a problem with fantasy, but now I've read books like these and I've no problem just escaping into these novels, just being in a completely different world and where everything's different. And in that world, elements from the regular life can appear, such as like feelings, love, hate. It's not like fantasy authors just write books where everything's inordinary. Ordinary things do happen in those books as well, but my mind is set on being in a different place where like you can expect elephants in the sky. And even with books like these, this is the Rivers of London series by Ben Arnovich. These are urban fantasies and I have no issue with these ones, even though there's a bigger mix of what you might consider reality and fantasy. So this is all based in London, all the names are there. He's a cop, he's hunting criminals, but it's all magical at the same time. And that just is easy to relate to. Not being a cop or chasing bad guys, I guess, but like being in London, just surrounded by rivers who can talk. To me, it has all to do with expectations, so when I started the Rivers of London series, I knew that the fantasy stuff was going to push the story along and be a main driver, if you will, but that is not always the case. When I picked up this one, for example, It's the Life of Pi, I had no idea what to expect other than that it was a huge bestseller both in the book form and the video or movie. So when it starts like... Okay, I'll pick up another book for this one, and that is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. These have this religious thing about them. So it's all magical realism in the way that God plays a big role in them. And this annoys me a lot. I've no problem with God or religion in books, but when God just pops in now and then and says like, hey, you might want to do this, or is this really your calling? Then it just, to me, gets to be a bit silly. So that annoys me a lot. And my biggest gripe with all of this is when the story is just plain old boring and then they push in magical aspects to make it more engaging. It never works. So for all of you authors out there watching this video, please make a good story before you put in the magical elements. Just have a baseline plot. Like, is this a character or plot-driven novel? Where is this all going? And then, like, do not spice it up with a little bit of God or a little bit of elephants again. I don't know. I'm very glad that I'm not the author because I can't write and I only have like God and an elephant to write about, so that's a bit thin. One thing that occurred to me when I was thinking about making this video is that there's one genre where nothing of this matters at all, and that is children's literature. So this is The Brothers Lionheart by Astrid Lindgren, and in this novel the two brothers sort of die and go to this magical place, or this place that doesn't exist. And when it's children's novels, my expectations are like everything can happen, people can be as abnormal as they want to. I'm very happy that this genre exists, but it begs the question of why can't my brain adopt this way of thinking into other books? If you have an answer for this, please leave a comment, because this is really bugging me. I have no problems reading children's literature where everything happens, there are multiple worlds and everyone can go wherever they like and anything can happen. I love that, at the same time as I despise it when reading books for grown-ups. Since we're on the topic of talking about things I can't understand, I thought I'd speak about really why I'm making this video now, and that is this one. I read 1Q84 or 1984 by Haruki Murakami lately. I absolutely loved this book, and it has a magical realism aspect to it. It has a fantasy sci-fi aspect to it. It has everything, but the story is so freaking cool that the magical realism part doesn't bug me at all. So this is what I mean by like magical realism books done correctly. And the fun thing is that when I've talked about this book on Instagram, people have said how much they hated this one. So I love that we're different, I guess. But they do exist. Books with magical realism that I can love exist. They are in this world, not a parallel universe. So that's great. Do you have any thoughts on this subject? Please comment them below, because I'm really wondering what people think about this genre. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!